Hi, hello, Vinny and Dragon, and welcome to another video. Now, today we're going to be doing another Pokemon Hot Takes video. As for every Hot Takes video, I need to get into some plugs. Uh, these Hot Takes are submitted via the YouTube community tab, as well as my Blue Sky. So if you have any requests to do your own Hot Takes for your own videos, make sure you post them on either of those platforms. There'll be links in the description. Okay. I'm also laddering in Scarlet and Violet right now, so this will be some sort of background stuff, but I'll be talking about it because I really enjoy this game, and it's really unfortunate because I'm up against the Chen Pao Kieran Black team. Hello, so editing Vinny here. I totally forgot to mention that I stole this team, by the way, and that it's absolutely not mine. I actually grabbed this from, I literally just was like, oh, I need more Calyrex Ice teams because I really like that guy, and I just stole this from Aaron Cybertron Zhang. So a huge shout out to Aaron Cybertron Zhang. If you watch this channel, you probably already know who he is, but I'll make sure to link that video down below so that I'm not stealing. If you really enjoy the team or whatever and want to learn the more specifics, I highly recommend you watch that video. But yeah, hope you enjoy. So we're gonna be leading these guys, and the new guys in the back. I think that's good. But yeah, like I said, make sure to follow me on all my associated socials. They'll be in the description, and that's how you get your replies responded to for these videos. So go ahead and feel free to submit your hottest takes, and I'll review them and roast them on the channel. And let's get into the video. Alright, the first response is, I think Alola is the best region, bar none. It's damn near perfect. Now, that's already a difficult discussion because if we're going to talk about games, I absolutely don't think so. I think that when it comes to what the best games are, that's already a pretty difficult task because I don't think they're like top 5. Actually, I mean, some might be top 5, but I think that they're not number 1 for sure. I think I've got Gen 5 over it. I've got Gen 9 over it as well. And I probably also have Plat above it. So when you try to say like, oh, best games and stuff, I think it's a bit tricky. Best decks, I also don't agree with. It's got some really good Pokemon in it for sure. Like, it's got some really fun guys. I really do love it. But I don't know if I could, within my heart, say, oh, this is for sure what we've got going on as the best. But that's just me. I think that the story's really, really good. I think the story maybe... Oh my god, Effect Spore proc? Okay, well, that's unfortunate. But aside from, like, maybe Gen 9 and Gen 5, I think Gen 7 has, like, some of the best story in Pokemon history. But yeah, I can't realistically in my heart say, oh, Gen 9's the GOAT. Also, this is a special. Oh my god. Okay, we're getting sleeped like crazy here. But, you know, that's fine. Spirit Break should help me make a little progress on this Kyurem and special attack it down so that Freeze Dry doesn't kill Urshifu, but yeah, we're cooked like bad because all my guys are asleep. I think that Gen 7 does do some things very strongly for sure, and it's definitely one of the best games in recent memory. However, I don't think it's the best at all. I can't really say that. I absolutely can't put that. Did he toxic my slot with Urshifu? Okay. I don't think I could put it in that slot of number 1 in really any category. But it is really strong across the board, and I think it's fair to have it as your favorite. I think that's just, I mean, your favorite's your favorite. No one can do anything about that. But I can't say it's the best for sure. Also, Fusion Bolt's gonna fuck me up through Reflect. Never mind. Oh my god, Urshifu's the GOAT? Urshifu's the GOAT. He would have lived that without Reflect. But yeah, I don't know. I don't agree with Gen 7 being the best at all. Alright, my next take is that Sinnoh is the most overrated Pokemon region by far. You have Shaman, Staraptor, Rotom, Togekiss. That's basically it. Okay, so obviously this is talking about specifically the decks and not like the story or the games themselves. Um, I actually don't disagree with this that much. Like, if we're gonna talk about... Hang on, I need to check and see if I've still got my screens up. Yes, I do. Okay. If we're gonna talk about what we think the best dex is, I think that Sinnoh is probably around the halfway mark, which I think is surprisingly low for a lot of people. A lot of people would put it at, like, top 3, and I just don't really think it's there. Like, it has a lot of evolutions for old Pokemon, which I think are serviceable or even bad. And then it has a lot of, like, just weird, like, one-offs. Like, it has some babies and it has some one-stages that I just don't particularly enjoy that much. But I don't think it's necessarily really, really bad. Oh my god, it's Sinnoh the GOAT. But I don't think it's particularly bad at all. I will say, I don't think the Pokemon you listed is just a fair conclusion. As much as Gliscor is my least favorite Pokemon of all time, I hate that son of a bitch, but I have to acknowledge that he's at least very popular and very well respected. I think Mamoswine is a sleeper. I love that guy. I really think that adding on to Pillow-Swine was a pretty good idea. You have just really good edgelord picks, like, you know, Darkrai and Giratina and stuff. I think Arceus is just a really cool Pokemon to put atop the Pantheon and stuff. And then also, I just don't really like Staraptor that much. I'll throw in my own hot take there. I think Staraptor is just pretty boring. But yeah, I think if I had to say, I think Sinnoh has like a better dex than something like Hoenn. I think it has a better dex than Kanto. But if I want to put it in like the top dexes of all time, I don't think it gets near Unova. I don't think it's above Galar. I don't think it's above Paldea. Like, I think I'd sit it around there in like the top 5, but not top 3 for sure. Alright, next up, Gen 9 would be seen as one of the best, if not the best generation of Pokemon, if the performance and graphics of Scarlet Violet, PLA, were on par with the games such as Breath of the Wild. Everything about those games is Pokemon at its best. So, off bat, I do kind of agree with this. Also, nice Terra into my Thunder Wave, jackass. But anyway, I think that I do agree with this. I mean, we're playing Gen 9 right now. You could look at it right now and see how it looks. But I think that the whole mainstream culture saw Scarlet Violet on release, saw how bruggy and broken and stuff it was, and immediately went, oh wow, this sucks. But I actually think that the games themselves, if you physically play the games, are definitely top 3 Pokemon games. And if there was no performance issues and stuff like that, they could realistically go to 1, man. Like, these games are good. So, it's tough to really say, like, if and, like, what if, but, you know, because I think the same thing happened with Cyberpunk 2077. We also got a DC. That wasn't me, let it be known. I have an Ethernet cable now. But anyway, I think it would be cool if we got 60 FPS Pokemon earlier. Like, honestly, if they just waited a few years and made Scarlet Violet a release title for the Switch 2, I think these games would be way highly regarded because you have the 60 FPS, you have the 4K, and you have the story, which the story is something you can't patch and make better. The graphics are. I mean, you look at things like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and even on Switch they looked pretty good. I'm sure that anyone who, like, replays them on the Switch 2 is going to think they're even better just because of the visual, like, feast they are, right? And so when you look at Scarlet Violet, having that visual feast, I mean, as much as I think graphics aren't, like, the biggest deal, they do matter to a degree, and if people are going to look at the game and be like, I don't like looking at this, they're not going to like playing it. Alright, we have a pretty standard team. I'm just gonna lead the Ensign, Calyrex, and then go, like... Honestly, I don't really need Grimmsnarl that much here, so I think I'm just gonna go with Lando and then Miraidon and call it. But anyway, I think that Gen 9 is a top 3 game. I don't know if they'd get over this nostalgia of Gen 5. I don't see anyone ever getting through that nostalgia of Pokemon fans. I think it'll take a few years before Gen 5 isn't seen as the best game ever anymore. But I think that, yeah, this is a pretty good take in my opinion. Alright, next take. I have zero faith in how the Pokemon Company handles Pokemon Champions. It has so much potential that I feel like they will just fumble. At its best, it will completely change the way we play using battle sims, but at its worst, it'll be the new Battle Revolution type game. You still have to make your own teams in the mainline game and port them over, limiting what sort of teams you can make, making the whole process more time consuming and complicated for no reason, while possibly giving them the excuse to shut down Pokemon Showdown. I think a Pokemon shutdown would be devastating for the community. Like, just straight up, I think it would absolutely kill all form of singles battles. I think a lot of the community would absolutely hate it. It would hurt VGC as well. Like, people want to say, oh, we'll just play VGC in client. But people test their teams on Showdown because it's so convenient. So if they made a game that wasn't very good and then shut down Pokemon Showdown, it could be disastrous for the competitive scene. Like, it could literally destroy it forever. And I mean, obviously, I think that's bad as someone who's, playing VGC right now. But I don't really think they're gonna do that because we've been clamoring for years for this. Even like the Japanese player base, if you look, like people in the Japanese VGC player base have been wanting something like this for a long time, and so that option for them is pretty huge. It's pretty important, as much as they try to like deny it and say like, oh well, our game's just a casual game for fun and stuff like that. At the end of the day, it's a market for money. And with the way that games are just centering more and more nowadays into being competitive and being for all these prizes and stuff, being for this prestige, you want them to have that option. So I don't necessarily not have faith in them because I think they'll do their best, but I do think that there is that chance, obviously, because Game Freak is Game Freak and they're just gonna do some stupid shit for the sake of doing stupid shit. I think that we could see a really good game on our hands, though. I think that there is the chance that they just, like, don't respect a lot of alternative formats to VDC, which could be a problem. In which case, people will just play Showdown as always. I don't think anything would change. But I don't know. I think that they should at least respect singles Pokemon a little bit. Obviously, there's no way they're gonna ever respect formats like OU and stuff like that. But if they just let the reins go and just say, alright, level 100 battles, everything's legal or whatever, there's no sense of laddering on Pokemon champions in single battles. Absolutely not. I just think that format is just awful. And I don't know if Game Freak necessarily knows that, but it's not very great. And it's not a healthy singles competitive scene on cartridge. Alright, well, we're pretty much going to wrap this battle up here. I see no reason to continue it, but we're just going to do this. I don't even know why I Terra Watered. I just made myself wait through an animation. But I just feel like I have faith, but I do understand where you're coming from necessarily. My next take is actually two takes. We're going to address them one by one, so technically this will be like take 5 and take 6. The ZA Battle Overworld Exploration are steps in the right direction for the franchise. I sort of agree. I actually plan on addressing this in a future video. I don't know how I feel about the new battle gimmicks and new system, because the whole dodging attacks and stuff like that, it feels more like an action RPG than a turn-based RPG, which I know that more mainstream audiences love action RPGs and stuff. I mean, there's a reason why the Final Fantasy VII Remake and stuff does it. There's like every major RPG franchise has at least tried it. Like, you look at like Persona 5 Strikers, for example, like, oh, people love Persona 5, but we gotta get those people who can't handle turn-based combat, you know? Also, here's proof that I didn't DC that battle, by the way, because I got a win for it. But anyway, I think that a lot of people, they wanna draw in those fans, so they're gonna make that action RPG. And to be fair, it still does look turn-based to a degree. Like, there's moving, but it's not necessarily like, oh, you're dodging and stuff, and you're just spamming the X button like a lot of action RPGs are. I just don't know how I necessarily like it myself. I like turn-based combat. I like them just adding more layers and depth and difficulty to turn-based combat, rather than just throwing it out the window. I think that certain franchises have been able to do both, and I think it's weird that Pokemon pretty much only exists in mainline right now, with a couple of spin-offs that are like more like mobile gamey rather than like actual spin-offs. I mean, you look at like the GameCube and N64 era, and they had like tons of spin-offs, so they just tried anything. And nowadays I feel like it's just, if it's gonna be a different game, it's gonna be a mobile game. So Legends is kind of where we only are at right now in terms of spin-offs, and they aren't even really treated as spin-offs right now. They're treated as main games. I mean, they're on the same console. Like, they're treated as main games. They're given that respect. So I am excited for them to try out this new system, but I don't think it'll be better than the main system. Absolutely not. Alright, the next one, and this one is, you know, pretty rage baity, actually. I don't even really feel like acknowledging it, but for the sake of the video, the VGC format is overrated and meaningless for 99% of players. Spoken like a true person who plays a format with 3 players on Pokemon Showdown. Let's talk about it. Without a doubt, VGC is the most popular competitive format. The only conversation is Smogon OU and random battles. Because random battles are just easy for mainstream audiences to just pick up and play random 3 battles and then drop. I don't even really consider that as a popular format in the same sense, because it's popular, sure, but how many people of those people even know what the word format means in that sense? Like, it's not really that much of a community because they're not actually playing the game, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard for me to say that Ranbats is on the same level as VGC when there's not the same level of engagement. The people who are actually good at Ranbats and like look into it and stuff like that, who analyze the format, analyze the Pokemon sets and stuff like that, I think that that's a format that should be respected in its own right. Same with every competitive Pokemon format, but I don't think it's on the level of VGC. Absolutely not. And then OU for Pokemon Showdown is a very popular format, and if you want to say it's on the same level as VGC, sure. But objectively, if you look at the numbers on like stuff like YouTube and stuff like that, look at the World Championships where people are traveling to play this game. People are so invested. We're bringing Calyrex Ice here every time. People are so invested with how this game is, and people want to see it succeed on the big stage that they are like just straight up traveling in order to play this game. Like no other format, like no other game is doing that like that. So I think saying that people don't care about VGC and it's overrated is just disingenuous. It's just not accurate. People care about VGC. A lot of people do. I mean, one of the most popular Pokemon YouTubers right now is just a primarily VGC creator. He's a world champion. I'm talking about Wolfie VGC. He is a top Pokemon YouTuber right now in terms of popularity. Every one of his new videos, 1 million+ views. You think people are just watching and they don't care about VGC at all? Alright, now we're in the Incineroar mirror here a little bit, and Urshifu is a bit rough. Thankfully this is Rapid Strike, so I don't have to worry too much about Calyrex getting absolutely cooked here, but we're gonna have to worry about this close combat here. And I think Trick Room is just my best bet, because I'm going to fake out to stop their Urshifu. And hopefully my Incineroar, I believe, is faster. I'm pretty confident. There we go. Yeah, my Incineroar is pretty fast. So we're going to get this Trick Room up. But like I said, no, like, we're not just going to sit here and say nobody cares about VGC when it's just the most popular thing in Pokemon, aside from Nuzlocke. It has mainstream appeal, it has absolute competitive depth, people love analyzing and going into the deep dives about this game. I'm going to tear a Water Leech Seed here, and I think that absolutely, without a doubt, it is one of the most loved systems as well. I mean, people love playing VGC, it's great. It's got a very popular player base and stuff. People play it on cartridge, which you could say for more than that for single battles, which I was talking about earlier. Granted, single battles on cartridge is ass, but I think that VGC, aside from Nuzlocke, is just the premier way to play Pokemon. And to just be like, oh, well, you know, it's overrated because this other Pokemon niche I like is better. Like, sure, you can have that opinion. No one's saying you can't have an opinion. It's just wrong. It's not based in facts. Alright, we're gonna take a Surging Strikes here. I'm sure we'll be fine, but anyway, I think that's probably gonna do it. I don't have any more hot takes here because people just like to ramble about how much they hate VGC in my groups, so that's the way it is, unfortunately, I guess. But anyway, if you have your own hot takes, be sure to submit them to my YouTube community tab or my Blue Sky every time I ask. I'll be trying to do these like every week or month. I don't know. Whatever people want. If people are clamoring for another one, I'll always drop another one. But yeah, make sure you submit them. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.